The Biden administration finally addressing the baby formula shortage months after the problems first began. U.S. Air Force planes now bringing hundreds of pallets of formula from Germany to the U.S. Still, 45% of formula is out of stock across the country, and those pallets are not likely going to be making any dent anytime soon. And the situation is getting more and more dire for parents. At least 6 babies have been hospitalized from the formula shortage, and that number, unfortunately, expected to grow as the shortage worsens. And while everyday Americans struggle with record high food prices and supply chain nightmares, President Biden is authorizing $40 billion of aid, that's $40 billion, to Ukraine. He wasted no time in pushing through that money, signing the emergency appropriations bill in South Korea. All right, guys and gals. David, I want to go to you first. You know, we were told on January 20th of 2021 that the adults were back in charge, right? And this administration seems to not have an anticipation gene, right? They didn't have it with inflation, and they didn't have it with Afghanistan, and they didn't have it with the supply chain, and I can go on. And now here we have what's going on with this baby formula shortage, which again, they claim, I believe the president said, well, you needed a mind reader to see this coming. Did we really, given that we've known that we've had a supply chain problem since last August when the transportation secretary decided to go on paternity leave for 2 months?
Well, you'd have to believe, Joe, that the president, the FDA, the various agencies, and yes, Pete Buttigieg and the Department of Transportation saw nothing over the past year plus. Fact is, they're incapable and incompetent. These are the adults in the room, but not the adults you want in charge. As a matter of fact, look at Joe Biden's performance. He does what's easy. He signs an aid bill for the Ukraine. I'm not against aid for the Ukraine, but they've had months to see this coming. It takes over 100 days for goods to transport from China here to the United States, where sadly we get a big part of our baby formula. That should be something else that we deal with in this country. And when it comes to supply chain within the country, the Department of Transportation is not talking to truckers, trucking companies, to the train operators out there. They're not talking to the people who actually have moved the goods and services, and they're not addressing the issues that raise costs on manufacturing, on production, distribution, which comes right down to the price at the shelf, which hurts the people who have the least amount of money, the least amount of liquidity to spend on rising prices, whether at the pump or at the shelf.
And Jackie, from a journalism perspective, you know, accurate information in this situation, particularly for parents, obviously, is more important than ever. We're seeing viral videos out there now showing parents how to basically make their own baby formula, which could be disastrous. So now more than ever, we need the media, the journalism community, put aside the partisanship or put aside, you know, who you're rooting for, blue team, red team, if you are biased in this business, and just give out accurate information to parents, because, boy, it's more important than ever, because we're talking about lives at stake, babies' lives at stake.
I think you're right, and desperate times call for desperate measures, but that doesn't mean that the answer is mixing baby formula at home. As you suggest, it could be very, very dangerous. Look, when I look at the crisis here with respect to this administration and what it knew, what it should have known, what it should have done on a timeline, we knew about the whistleblower letter in October. We knew that the Abbott plant was closing down in February, and here we are now in May, just starting to take strides to bring baby formula into this country. This administration leaves every crisis until it blows up, until it explodes, until it's at a tipping point before it decides that it wants to move. And the CEO of Perrigo, one of the baby formula makers, has said very candidly that essentially there are going to be delays now for the rest of the year as a result of this. Wow. I always say it's like starting up an oil rig. You don't just flick a switch and have oil production overnight. It's the same thing when you shut down a baby formula plant. It takes time to bring it back up online. It takes time to get that supply ramped up. And what did President Biden do? Rather than look for ways to get the manufacturing going in this country or to reduce tariffs and bring baby formula from other countries into our country, he was talking to the retailers, the last end part of the supply chain, about what they could do. They can't do anything right now. That's another part of this problem. But the first part of the problem is the manufacturing. And yet this administration, the FDA, they just sat on this.
Wow. And you're right about that. Many months late, many dimes short when it comes to so many big issues. Nicole, from a medical perspective, let's say you're a parent and you can't find baby formula. Can you go to a pediatrician and say, hey, look, I'm not going to make this at home. Do you have any samples that you could give me until I could find this for my baby?
Well, Joe, first I want to say Jackie just really hit the nail on the head there with so many things. The baby formula shortage is an ultimate failure of demonstrating the slow pace of the FDA, but also this monopoly that's been created between the federal government and these private sectors. When you have Abbott providing about 48% of baby formula within our country, they knew that it was going to be shut down in February, and it wasn't until mid-May that they start to put forth a plan. I mean, this is a massive failure of the FDA, and it just adds on to the other failures and the slow pace that they have moved at throughout the entire pandemic. But this is devastating to hear right now. You have children who are being hospitalized in multiple states because their parents are trying to make their own baby formula, or the children are having a reaction to a new different type of baby formula, and this can actually cause a lot of harm. Now, yes, the first thing to do when you are having difficulty finding formula for your infant, call your local pediatrician. If you don't have a pediatrician, call the local hospital. Call anyone you can. Oftentimes, they do have large amount of stock there to give out. You can also call your state government agencies through the WIC program. They tend to have a good amount of formula as well. The thing you don't want to do is make homemade formula, as this can be devastating to your child. They have very different nutritional needs. Where really the most severe is those infants newborn to 3 months that have to only be on breast milk or formula. You can't supplement with other things. So we have to work as a community. If you start seeing formula, you know someone who has an infant, pick up the phone, call them, see if they need formula. There will be formula coming in the next few weeks, but we're still going to feel this crunch for a little bit.
Nicole, thanks for that. That was great information. And you have to wonder now, panel, as far as the Democratic Party and the impact that something like this has, because there could be many apolitical parents out there, or maybe some that voted for Joe Biden last time, that are saying, you know what, enough is enough with the gas prices and filling up my car and buying food at the store, and now I can't even get baby formula for my kid, and forget what's going on at the border and crime and everything else. And Bill Maher, who, let's face it, is now the voice of reason within the Democratic Party. If you caught me saying that 5 years ago, I'd say you were loco. But here he is last night, Real Time with Bill Maher, HBO, saying that the Democrats have a real problem on their hands because many people are heading for the exodus. Let's hear it.
Well, there may not be a movement, but there is a bit of an exodus. I mean, people leave this state and move to Texas. That happens. People look at the polls for what's going to happen in November. People are voting more Republican in November. The Democrats are going to get their kicked.
Oh, well.
David, your response.
Well, first of all, two things. Yes, people are leaving the Democrat states. They're coming to Florida, where I am. But the Democrat Party left the people. They left their base. I hear that from so many Democrats of all ages. They look at the party, they see the amoral elitists at the top, those in leadership who say whatever's necessary, the let them eat cake crowd. And then they turn around, they say to the younger, far-out AOC-style progressives, the squad-style progressives, how are you actually going to do something to help me? Bernie Sanders is not out of focus for them because he's the leader of this leftist lurch. And now the younger squad members and others have dragged the party away from the reasonable American. And yes, they're going to vote because people vote on their pocketbook and they vote on what matters to them every day, like the price at the pump.
Well, history says that a red tsunami is certainly coming in November when you have a president that's polling in the 30s on approval, when 73% of Democrats only support this president. Donald Trump was always somewhere around the 90% range. When only 24% of independents support this president, the party in power is in real trouble. By the way, David, I think it's hotter here in Jersey than it is in South Florida where you are right now. So good decision going down there once again, because we're getting killed up here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.